Fellas, figured I'd bring you along on this MPG and DEF usage. Firsthand, right? I'm towing a little north of 28,000 pounds. Let me share some data with you. I'm going on a cross-country trip here, and what better experience than first-hand trip experience, right? I think I reset the second one. Yeah, this is part of my leg, so if you could tell how many hours I've been driving, the mileage, and the fuel mileage. So 10.6, you be the judge of that. I like to cruise anywhere between 65 and 68. I've had it up to 72 for a little bit. Just didn't want to be a burden to the traffic around me. Right now, there's plenty of room in front of me. A few vehicles pulling up behind me, but no big deal. I could do my 65 to 68 out here. And that's my fuel mileage. Obviously, we know direct correlation with fuel mileage is your speed. So we got that out of it. Now you know the platform I'm working with, right? A little taller than the gooseneck, fairly aerodynamic, not the most aerodynamic, but it ain't a 40-foot, high cube container either. So that being said, let's talk about overall. Fuel mileage is phenomenal. My personal opinion, for what this vehicle is capable of, the power that it has, there's never power shortage. This thing, when they say 500 horse, 1200 torque, they gave it all. I mean, this thing scoots. A couple scenarios I really had to get on it. I'm not the kind of guy to get on equipment when it's heavy and towing, but I had to move. It was just a tight situation. And let me tell you, this thing moves. There's no doubt, question of that, any situation. Now, as far as DEF, I think this vehicle is very reasonable as far as DEF usage. But, it's drastically different. Where the Cummins, because a lot of experience, I have first-hand experience in a lot of it with Cummins, the 6.7s. When you compare these two vehicles, they're both empty, right? This Ford by far uses less DEF, by far. Nearly twice less DEF, from my experience. Nearly twice DEF. Less DEF being used. Alrighty, thank you, woman. With that being said, when it's loaded, it's thirstier than the Ram. So that kind of, just the drastic change, the drastic difference is really what stands out to me. Zero complaints. I can't complain. But my average tank of DEF, 1,100, 1,200 miles, and I'm done. That's all I get out of a tank. And my average fuel up is anywhere, 4.5, 4.8 gallons of DEF. This DEF tank's a little bigger than the Ram from my experience. Either the gauges shows DEF level different, but I'm pretty sure the DEF gauge or the DEF tank's a little bigger on this guy. Once again, I'm not complaining, but how do you go from solid 5,000 from what I was seeing and the way the DEF percentage was going when it was empty versus when it's loaded? I'm decently heavy, but it's not a wind sail or a parachute like a container would be, so take it for what it is. Just sharing my first-hand experience. That's what I told you guys I would do with this truck. For the curious ones, this is a 23 F350 HO. Specifically, the HO is what I was interested in, and let me tell you, Ford has done a phenomenal job. Outside of the exhaust brake, that thing's gimmicky, but I have a video on that. Go check it out. You can still get it to work right, but that includes cruise control. If you're not the kind of guy to go down hills, you don't like your cruise control being set, you're out of luck. But I gotta stay focused on fuel mileage and DEF in this video, and that's what we're gonna do. So, to sum it all up, fuel mileage is within reason. When it's empty, it's phenomenal. Kind of easy to say 20 miles to a gallon. I haven't done, obviously, thousands and thousands of miles of that 20 miles to a gallon, but overall, it's decent. Zero complaints on fuel mileage. I was not expecting that. I was expecting a heavy hit on fuel mileage compared to the Cummins, right? But nope, surpassed the Cummins, which really surprised me. Now, before I wrap up this video, the after treatment. The after treatment has a mind of its own. I'll ballpark fairly accurate, but I'll ballpark the RAM system, right? It'll kind of work with the first 30%, somewhere between 30 and 50% it'll regen, and you're back to zero. This thing kind of has 2/3, right? As an owner, I feel about 60-65% sure I know how the system works. The rest of it is kind of stab in the dark. I've seen this thing regen at 60%. I've seen it quite a few times go up all the way to 100. And once it sat at 100 for a minute. I was driving for like 15 minutes and then it started regenning. It does not show you active regen like the RAM does. But you start see it count down by increments of 5. So you'll have 100, right? Like I said, it sat for 100, then I'll go 95, 90, 85, 80, so on and so forth. I've seen it regen 3 times right at the 60% mark, and it'll start going downhill from there. So take it for what it is, and that's the after treatment. On an important note, this after treatment works by far better as far as a consumer, and here's what I mean. You're standing outside, this thing is doing its own thing. It's regenning, it's not regenning, it's just idling. The exhaust is acceptable, it's decent, and the conclusion, it's proper. Where the Ram's exhaust after treatment system is, man, that stuff does not smell good. I haven't owned a single Ram that it's not horrendous when it's regenning. This thing, or the Ram, just stinks really bad. But that's just part of the deal if you care to know about that stuff. I know some of you guys are going to be screaming, just forget it, right? Move on with life, get rid of it, but that's not an option. These vehicles were intended with the system. They need to stay with the system. Oops. Alrighty. I'm really curious why he needs to change his lanes, but go for it, buddy. Oh, and these are the truckers that need to get off the road. So he turns on his blinker, wants to go change lanes right into the Toyota, and then he decides not to. Well, good for you, buddy. I hope you get trained or out of that truck sooner than later. Some people, man, just because they could hold a steering wheel. This guy, dude, can't even hold his lane. Wakey, buddy. Oh, he's texting and driving, go figure. That explains it. Anyways, so yeah, I'm fairly impressed how clean the exhaust runs on this Ford. So I'll just leave it at that. Alrighty, fellas, as always, may the Lord bless you. May y'all mighty fine day, and let me know in the comment section what specifically you want to know about this 23HO, and we'll go from there. Ciao.